That I did want to just touch on one thing, and that's the whole concept of these like new customer experiences, like you were mentioning, most of which did exist previous to this past year, but perhaps didn't have the spotlight that this past year put on them. Concepts like BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store, really seem to put the customer in even more control of how they purchase the product and how that package even arrives to their house, whether they go pick it up or whether it's delivered. Do you think strategies like this or other ones hint that it's a new way of thinking for retailers, at least the way that they perhaps should be thinking?
Well, it's kind of funny, and I try to say this without sounding too harsh, but buy online pickups in store. I think Nordstrom rolled that out in 2003. We rolled that out at Neiman Marcus over 10 years ago.
Mhm.
So buy online pickup in store has been a good idea for a long time. I think that for whatever reason, probably cost, retailers didn't embrace it as aggressively as they should have until they were basically forced to do it.
Mhm.
So there is an aspect of innovation where I think we should be very critical of retailers that took too long to innovate when others like Best Buy and Target and Tractor Supply, you can go down a list of retailers that basically were doing all the things, years
Mhm.
ahead of the crisis that really served them well. And now a lot of retailers are playing catch up. So if I were in management or a board, I would be like, well, why did it take a crisis for you to innovate? But certain behaviors certainly are very particular to what happened in COVID. And it remains to be seen the degree to which some of them will persist. But I think that the lesson is, aside from adopting a culture of experimentation and being more agile. But I think the lesson is the more you map out customer journeys and the more you understand, whether it's digital or physical or some combination, where there are pain points or friction points, but also opportunities to really wow the customer or give yourself a competitive advantage. If you're doing that work all the time, you will be ahead of the game in terms of understanding how customer needs are evolving. And if you do it better than the competition, you should be able to implement some of these things. So you're never going to be able to anticipate, though actually there are a couple companies that did, but you're never going to be, completely ready for something like a global pandemic. But so I think the lesson is not to take less risk because you're worried that some
Mhm.
calamitous thing is going to happen. You really have to lean into these opportunities, and most of that's rooted in just understanding the customer better and where technology enables you to do some things more effectively and efficiently.